There are different guns for every situation out there, and today I'm going to be showing you guys exactly what guns I use to protect the homestead. How's it going, guys, and welcome to another episode of Coffee Talk. My name is Chad and this is the Hopeful Homestead. And the weather's finally getting good enough out here in South Florida to be able to make a video outside, so I'm excited to be coming to you from the campsite outside the cabin today. Which is fitting because today we're talking about the firearms I use as I do work out on this property, as I roam the property, doing whatever I need to do. I have a set of firearms that I use that I call my farm guns that I have currently used and will continue to use as the way that I protect myself and my family while we're out here from wildlife and two-legged threats that might wander onto our property as well. Now, all of these firearms are open carry only firearms. I'm sure there's a way you could try to figure out how to conceal any of these, but for the most part, all these guns are too big and heavy to conceal easily. Over the past couple of years, since we bought this 21-acre lot, I built a fence. I built a perimeter fence around this thing, a Kentucky 4-board fence, with the intention of keeping the cattle off of our property that were roaming all of the neighboring lots, including ours, before we bought it. We have plans to completely do our own thing here, so we wanted to keep that cattle off of our land. And while I was building that fence, I needed to make sure I stayed protected because we're out here in the middle of nowhere and I can't call for help. We're really far from the nearest fire station, from the nearest police station, and so I need to be able to defend myself or my family when I'm out here, and that's where carrying guns that'll do the job come in handy. Because I have seen Florida panthers out here. I know it's a big rarity, but I saw a Florida panther out here on this property before. I have seen big stinking rattlesnakes. I have killed water moccasins that have come out of the wetlands that are on this property with one of the guns that I'm showing here today. And I've seen bobcats. I've seen droves of wild boar running around. I have a trail camera out here that's captured huge wild boar with massive tusks. I mean, there's plenty of dangerous wildlife out here to merit needing to carry a firearm whenever I'm outside out here. And so the first gun on the list is what I typically never walk around without, and that is my 45 Colt revolver. I keep it in this holster on my hip at all times when I'm out here. And it is my trusty firearm that is one of the most accurate guns that I've ever used, ever owned. It is incredibly reliable. This thing has been covered and caked in sawdust when I was sawing and cutting all the boards and posts for this fence. It was on my hip, and all of that sawdust was on my right hip, so I was using the saw with my right hand and it would blow all of the sawdust back all over this. And I've had to clean this thing out because there's been sawdust caked inside of it. And this thing still fires like a gem. It's incredibly accurate. It's a 5.5-inch barrel Cimarron Thunderer. It's got the bird's head grip, which I prefer ergonomically for my hand. It fits my hand perfectly. This thing is 45 Colt. It is a single action Army clone. It is a 1-to-1 ratio pretty much of a single action Army Colt. And it's heavy, it's big, it's steel, it's wood. It's just glorious, and I love this thing. It balances incredibly well in the hand. It feels comfortable on my hip. When I fire it, the recoil is manageable. The sound, honestly, is manageable from this revolver. Being 45 Colt, it doesn't just completely blow your ears off if you have to use it. Obviously, out on the farm, I'm not wearing hearing protection when I'm out here, so there's a couple of times I had to kill some snakes that were near me. That first time I did it was with a .357 Magnum revolver, and oh my Lord, I felt like I couldn't hear for like 3 days after that because I shot the snake without any hearing protection on, and it really messed me up. And that right there quickly made me decide not to carry .357 Magnum as my everyday carry caliber and ammunition when I'm doing work out here, because I will have to deploy my guns and use them fairly regularly, and I'm not wearing hearing protection when I'm out here doing work, so I need to be able to not completely disorient myself when I fire my gun. And that's where 45 Colt comes in very handy. I actually used this gun to shoot and kill one snake, and also used it to shoot at the feet of a bull that kept chasing me. I've told this story before a couple of times on this channel. When I was building this fence, I had a big angry bull come up to me when I was working. I was thankfully near my Bronco, and that bull was ducking its head low. It was kicking the dirt with its hooves, and I was like, oh boy, what's this guy doing? I tried talking to him. I tried being like, hey, no, and he kept inching closer and closer, and so I started backing up and moving around my Bronco, and he chased me 3 laps around the Bronco, and so I drew my pistol and fired at the ground about 3 feet in front of his feet, and that's what got him to stop and got him to move on. And so if I didn't have my gun with me just for stinking cattle, who knows what happened that day. But when I deployed this thing to do that, I was able to do it without blowing my ears off to where I couldn't hear for the rest of the day and have to stop working. So for me, like I said, 45 Colt comes in handy for that reason. And this, along with my next gun, both share the same 45 Colt ammunition. And while I am very confident in this revolver, if I have to use it, I'm pretty accurate with it from a good distance. It still doesn't compare to a rifle. And that's where my next gun comes into play. A lever action. I have this Rossi made Heritage 92 ranch hand. This is Heritage is an American company that imports these firearms. This is a Brazil made firearm by Rossi that Rossi actually stopped producing the ranch hand with the big loop that has the short stock that and the shorter 12-inch barrel that makes it a mare's leg. Technically in America this is a pistol, but this thing, it functions and feels like a rifle, and it's as accurate as a rifle, but it's handily small. With the 12-inch barrel and the smaller stock to where I can just handle this thing very easily, very quickly. It's fantastic, but it still has a good sight radius, being that it's a 12-inch barrel, obviously bigger than my 5.5-inch barrel in my pistol. I can hit targets even further, more easily with this. It holds 6 rounds in the tube, plus 1 in the chamber if you want to. I don't, so I've got 6 rounds right here that I can rack real quickly and fire. And this is unloaded right now. I love this gun for that reason, because it's easy. I can throw it. I have a little holster for it. It's a mare's leg holster. I can throw that anywhere I am. I keep it in my side-by-side when I'm moving around doing work, so that if I see a wild boar or some sort of threat scoping me out from far away, I will grab this thing to be ready if it charges. Whereas if I don't necessarily have this on my person the whole time, that's where my revolver comes in handy. If something surprises me and sneaks up on me when I don't have any real time to react, the revolver's there for that. Whereas this is there for if I have time and see the threat from afar. And I am thinking after January 1st, with the new laws that are going to be taking effect, where they're not requiring the $200 fee for registering an SBR, I might throw a full-size stock on this thing and have a nice little 12-inch barrel 45 Colt short barrel rifle. That would be the ultimate farm rifle in my opinion. So I might just do that come January, but we'll see. I still like the mare's leg functionality as well. And honestly, this big loop is very handy with gloves on. When I'm out here doing work, I typically have big, thick sheepskin gloves on, and I can operate that action and move that lever and even get my finger in the big trigger guard with gloves on. So that's one of the big reasons I like this particular gun even over my other rifles that I have that have a smaller lever. This is easy to deploy and use out in the field when I've got gloves on doing work. And that brings me to my third weapon that I use for protection here on the Homestead, because any homesteader is not truly a homesteader in my opinion unless you've got a shotgun, specifically a Stoeger double barrel shotgun, Stoeger coach gun right here. This thing is mean and it's double barrel, it's intimidating, and this is the gun that I will use when I plan to be sitting on my front porch of my farmhouse cleaning it when my daughter gets picked up for her first date by whoever decides to come around and take her on a date. I will do the typical thing where I'll be sitting there with this over here, cleaning the bores out, cleaning everything, you know. I'll have this gun on my lap, sitting in a rocking chair when Mr. whoever comes over to pick up my daughter. And that'll leave a nice little impression to not mess with me and not mess with my daughters. But in practicality, this thing is incredibly useful, being that it's 12 gauge and you know, I can shoot 12 gauge slugs, you can shoot birdshot, shoot buckshot. You know, this is incredibly versatile, being it's a 20-inch barrel, it's very accurate. Being that it's a double barrel, it actually deploys pretty fast for being a pretty affordable gun. I can have 2 rounds in here and be able to fire, boom, boom, 2 rounds sequentially really, really fast, because this is the single trigger version of the Stoeger coach gun. And if you haven't seen before, it has this lever here, you pull it, push to open it, brake action, and it's very simple, very rudimentary, very reliable format that will be around forever. It's all wood and steel. This thing is very simple mechanically. It breaks down and can break down into multiple pieces for easy storage and transport. It's a great gun for being able to just be an additional thing to hunt with, for wildlife protection. Obviously, 12 gauge slug is going to take down anything out here, but for whatever reason, this thing packs a wallop with recoil. I don't know what it is about this gun. I mean, it is just a hard butt plate here that's just plastic on the end. So when you fire this thing, man, it kicks you like crazy. And it's always fun to have new shooters out here at our shooting range. It's always fun having them shoot this thing because it always surprises them quite a bit. For whatever reason, and I've read online a lot of other people who have other 12 gauge shotguns, for whatever reason, this particular format of the Stoker Coach gun has greater felt recoil for whatever reason with the same load shells as other, being fired out of other guns. For whatever reason, the way this is designed, it just really pounds you. And but one thing that's good about the recoil is it is a very linear, straight back recoil. It is not a raised recoil, so it's easy to do bang, bang, really sequentially, very easily for hunting, for whatever you need. And this is sort of an extra firearm that I use because obviously I could get by with just the revolver and the lever gun, but a shotgun is just so versatile. The ammunition is dirt cheap and it's very readily available. And it obviously would be a very useful tool for hunting and for protection as well. So for being that it's a very, very affordable, very reliable, long-term, it's gonna last, forever, my whole life. This will be a staple of the Homestead in addition to the lever gun and the revolver for literally decades to come. I do have many other firearms. I've got some longer barrel lever action rifles that have a full buttstock that I use for other scenarios. I have all of these are obviously all wood and steel. They're all blued. They're all chosen particularly by me to be beaten up. I don't baby these guns. I set them down, they scrape on all kinds of surfaces, they bump into things, they get dropped on the ground. I set this down on my gravel here all the time. I wanted this to not be pretty guns that I could just rely on, that are reliable and sturdy and functional, but at the same time can take a beating and have no worse for wear, really. As far as the Homestead protection goes, when I'm out here doing work and whatever, these are the things I carry with me. I have a holster that I've used this with slapped in the side of my side-by-side that keeps it ready to go as well. But that's gonna do it here today for another episode of Coffee Talk. Thanks for being here. And if you feel like sticking around, there's another video up here in the corner about why I'm all about wood, steel, and soul, baby. Why I love revolvers and lever guns. So go have fun watching that, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Thanks.